Hello, welcome to Next Office Corporation. This is another video for today. So in today's video, we will be going over Windows Server. So let's get started. I am using a virtual machine for this. So here you get a blank screen right now only because it's still booting up. Just gonna wait. As you can see, the mouse popped up. Here's what Windows Server looks like. I've already configured everything. It's a long process, so I'll probably make another video considering I still have a domain controller I want to set up. I already have this as a domain controller, but I want to have two of them, so I have like a little working virtual network. So we're just going to wait for this to load up. Taking longer than expected. Sorry. Alright, now it's going to apply everything. So now you're brought to this Control-Delete. For VirtualBox, it's Control-Delete. For a physical machine, it's Control-Alt-Delete. And for VMware, it is Control-Alt-Insert. And if I'm not mistaken, if it's Hyper-V, I think it's Control-Alt-N. Something like that. Okay. So now that we're in, we can input our domain password with our there we go. With our domain and username. So now that I'm into my account, here's what the desktop looks like for Windows Server 2012 R2. I unlocked my evaluation copy to the full extent. So that's why it says that on the bottom. Set trial version. So basically, here's what everything looks like. Once I'm on, here's what pops up right away. You get this server manager. The other pop-up that I dismissed was just a shutdown event log thing. It pops up if you forcibly shut down the operating system, you power it back up, or even if you try to log it off properly or shut it down properly or restart it, it'll always want a reason why. Because it's technically made for online servers that are supposed to be on all the time. So the fact that you turn it off kind of raises some flags. But it's not like a regular copy of Windows, so it's a little different. So now that server manager's off, here you're sitting at your traditional desktop. It does not look the prettiest considering I changed my background. Gave it look like Windows 8, but if you look at my mouse pointer, it doesn't look styled like it normally does. Typically, it doesn't come out in the nicest theme. You have to give it the desktop experience to get the personalization and things like that. So basically, here's my start menu. I customized it to the way what I normally use. Basically, this is a deployment server for Windows deployment services and for MDT services. So this can dish out Windows installations over the network. So basically, if you have install images, I have Windows 10. This is a Windows 10 WIM image, .wim file extension. Had changed the 10 image because they changed the file extension into ESD to reconvert it back to the traditional style. Now you got Windows 7, which always comes in WIM. Then you got your boot images for boot.wim for Windows 10 and Windows 7. This will allow your devices to boot. Pending devices is if you're Pixie booting and you have administrative privileges on, it'll pop up right here. The other two we don't worry about, and this we don't worry about typically in a virtual environment. Alright, so basically all this installation and the way it's configured, I will probably make other videos on. This is not one of those days because I already configured this server and I am not getting rid of it because it's a nice server. I like this server. This is a good server, I mean. Alright, so then we got Active Directory users and computers for my domain, nixofficecorporation.local. There's me in the Nix Office owner group. You got the users, virtual machines, workers, laptops, desktops, co-owner, and a few others. You also got the default folders or the default directory structure with all the default groups, which we don't use, so I just created my own structure, which you can't really delete the built-in ones, so yeah. Now, since I opened this file, right, I'm wondering, why do I have so many drives? How do I have so many drives? And why are they so big? Well, since it's a virtual machine, I just create multiple drive files, which is not taking a lot on my physical machine. If you look on my physical machine, not a lot has been taken up, really, if you really think about it. And if you look, yeah, not a lot has been taken up either, but still. These two are split in half. This is a 100 gig drive, and I just split it in half. Because I don't think 100 gigs is really needed for apps and programs, and I don't think another 100 gig is just random stuff. But deployment, probably wondering, well, that doesn't really need a lot. Yes, it does. Because it's holding a lot, it'll probably hold a lot of Windows images for different installs of Windows, which can get pretty big, as you can see. It's already filled up just for those two. Alright, then with the file drive, you're like, that probably does need a lot, only because the more users I get, the more who use the computer, the more they're going to want to store. So having a big drive is really good. Then the Windows partition, which is 50 gigs, only because Windows doesn't really need a lot, considering it's on its own little thing. Right, then this one is network locations. This is the file drive here. And this is my local machine, my physical machine. So here, if I go in file drive, there's a folder called home folder. And then in there, the company. And then you'll see the folder structure of co-owner, owner, users, workers. Your user account will pop up in your designated folder, as you can see. And then if you go back here, you'll see that this here is created. Since when I set your user accounts up, you get a folder or a network location that's linked to this folder in here. See? It's all linked here to that one thing. So I just get quick access to your things in here. So in that dictionary folder, these are all contained. So it's just a quick shortcut that I set up for you. So yeah, basically you won't have access to this as a standard user. I do, since it's technically my virtual machine, my server, I get to administer this. So I get to have the access. But most people, the co-owner has access, and the admins have access to that, amongst all the other drives. But typical users will not have access to this drive, this drive, this drive, this drive, and they sometimes will have access, depending on the folder, to that drive. This drive they will always have access to, and this one they will always have access to, considering it'll have their name and their location. The CD drive they'll have access to too, and any flash drives that they plug in. So yeah, all these folders are linked to this here or that folder in there. So basically, if you look in here, you see there's 30 folders. They all have the images, which we're not going to go through, because that'll be a long thing to go through. DNS basically just sets up directory services and how the server handles IPs. So when I give it a new client to handle, it has to assign it an IP, which is DNS, and DHCP, which DHCP allows automatic. Manual is for DNS. We don't have DHCP because it affects deployment services a lot for some reason. Alright, then we got nothing else. This is a very bare bones thing, because the other server is going to be a database server for SQL Server. And there you can have all the databases for volume licensing, MDT and all that. We don't have MDT on this server yet, but that will allow automated installations. The ADK will also help with interacting with MDT. So that's a whole new thing that we'll set up later on. Now is not the time. This is my pretty server I set up. I think I like it. It's a good server. I worked hard on it. There's nothing in here yet, because I haven't installed anything. Looks a lot like 8.1, as you can see. It's not. It's a lot more advanced. We have group policy for all the policies on if a user is able to change their desktop, if they're able to access a drive, if they're accessing a folder. This is all controlled here. Well, at least in the domain structure. as you can see. We have domains, then the company domain, and then the default domain policy, and then here we'll have a folder for policies, and then there will determine if you have access to something or not. It's pretty typical. Then you got your services for like the system services, so if a service stops that's not supposed to stop, I can quickly fix that. Same thing with Event Viewer, I can always check to see what's going on in there, because if there's an issue with the server and see what's causing it, or if there's a logging the time and how it happened. So if I go in application, as it loads, you'll see there's events of 950 as it's popping up right there. They'll all load. I'm just gonna give it a while. It's being slow because I have gave it a gig of RAM, and also I am recording as well. Alright. So here you got a bunch of things like everything that's been happening. As you can see, when the system started up, WDS Pixie has started. See? WDS server has started. And this is all the things. And then there's errors, as you can see sometimes. License activation has failed, as you can see, because I'm not connected to a network in a while. When log on, right? Another error. License activation. So it's going to keep trying to activate in the background, which is going to spit out some errors. Get a warning from log on. See, just said it took an unusual amount of time to load up. Get another error because it's still trying to process that activation. See? Now there's all kinds of things it tells you about the system. It can also tell you why your system's turning off if there's power failure. Command prompt, very easy for quick commands such as like things I might have to do if I have to do it through a command line. If there's something advanced I have to do that only a command line can do. PowerShell is the new version of the command line. Allows me to remove a lot more things, allow me to manage the system easier. It's more modern, runs based off net framework instead of the traditional Windows shell, which I find pretty cool. This is not going to be in-depth, like really getting into Windows Server, but this will get you familiar with it, get you used to how it navigates, get you used to like what it looks like, show you that not all scary servers do run an operating system that looks pretty typical to what we run. Most servers. Some run Linux, which is a terminal-based shell, which looks a lot like a command prompt in full screen that you can never exit. Like Windows is really generous, see? But if you put in full screen, right, and then do Control Enter, oh, it may not work. Oh, or I'll just load 1000. Oh wait, 1000. There we go. Enter. Okay, I don't know why it's not working. But basically, it's a major thing that looks like this. A completely full screen. Imagine this not here, this not here, all these scroll bars are not here. Is this. And you basically have some text coming down from when you logged in. You'll see a little thing saying your username and a cursor waiting for you to type something. So some operating systems are dumbed down to this. You gotta type the command. Or some look more like your traditional operating system, like this. This looks a lot like Windows 8. There's one that looks like 10. There's one that looks like Windows 7. One that looks like Windows 95 if you want. Which we don't recommend. But this is the most recent that my company runs. I like this the most. I'm probably going to upgrade soon. But this is what I run right now. This is what I got my hands on. This is what I decided to set up with. I set everything up this way. Anytime you upgrade, it's really hard to upgrade the operating system. I can get my hands on a Windows Server 2016 that would work right with a virtual machine for some reason. If you have a link for me, thanks. If you don't, that's fine. Also, I was trying to get my hands on a 2019 version that recently came out. I did have my hands on one, but then I deleted the ISO file for the virtual disk image. Great me, right? Yeah, I'm smart. And I could never get it back because Windows discontinued it. They did discontinue it, but they're rolling out it to public. So it's kind of in the transition phase, so not everything is completely there, right? Like when you download it, right, from the Insider Preview site, it just downloads the non-GUI version, which does not look like this. It looks like those command shells. So yeah, that's great. So this is what I could get my hands on. It's newer than 7, since 7 is going to be outdated in 2020 in January. I think they might extend the server version of it by a year or two, but that's it. So here's what I got for this time, if anything like that. Looks pretty typical. I gave this, this actually has 780 megs of RAM. Didn't know that. Oh, alright. So this is running on low performance, and it seems really good, right? Like it works well, because it's made for low performance computers. Like you can run this on a old 512 megabytes. It wouldn't look like this considering it's not that good for virtual machines, but like it'll run better on physical hardware. But yeah, so this is what it looks like right now. It's using a lot of RAM, but that's because it doesn't play well with virtualization for some reason. But yeah, it's pretty usable. I mean, you don't suffer a lot of lag with it. I like it. It's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's about as long as all my other videos, about 30 minutes long. Which, if you're wondering, if you're looking for a video recording software that works good like this one, which you're probably wondering, well, when you click, right, or type on the keyboard, why does it sound like that? You probably heard it in a lot of my videos. That's because the way my manufacturer, Dell, I have the Dell Latitude E5500. Where the microphone is located is right by the mouse, like the trackpad. So when you type, it picks up really well, and it picks up right where your keyboard is. So you're always going to hear that. I tried cutting it out, it doesn't work well. Tried fixing it, tried to lower my sensitivity, but if I do that, then you guys can't hear me. It's all kinds of things, so you just gotta have to like deal with it. I know it's probably annoying. So I use an external mouse so you don't have to hear me clicking it every so often as much. But yeah, but when I have to type, you're gonna hear it. Sorry. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, comment. I'm not gonna push you on that, but I really would like the subscribers since I'm at like 16. I want a little bit more because I do feel like I do a good job on these videos. I mean, I'm taking like 20 minutes every day, 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour and 30 minutes on some videos. On one of the videos I recorded that's still sitting in my computer, which have not gone out to YouTube yet because I don't have the internet. Yay! Once all these videos are out though, hope you guys enjoy. In case if you are wondering on how I record, I use OBS Studio 2202 because I find this easier because I have unlimited recording time and it's free. I find this the best because then I can record all I want at decent quality. Like, I bet this looks pretty good. I mean, compared to other software that you use, it looks all dodgy, it looks all low quality. I find this to be actually pretty good. So, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's the end of my video. Goodbye.